Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 17th episode of Never Over the Hill. Today, I have a very special guest who actually traveled here to be here, who I have not seen in 4 years. Her name is Jennaea Denhardt, and she is a freelance interior designer. She flew in from Minneapolis, and last time I saw her, we were in Mexico together. Anyway, we have a lot. Of stories. And
I almost wore my bracelet you made for me. I did. I forgot it.
What did it say?
Viva la Mexico.
That's right. Yes. Anyway, so we're gonna jump right in. I'm gonna let Jennaea tell you guys a little bit about what she does, and then we'll talk about how we actually met.
Yeah, I know,
Okay.
which is funny.
Yeah.
So I'm a freelance interior designer. I'm self-taught. I turned an obsessive hobby into like a business.
It's the best.
14 years ago, and have been doing that ever since. And I work a little differently than most designers in the industry work, so that's kind of why I always clarify that I work freelance, and I'm very upfront with the fact that I'm self-taught, because there are certain aspects of the industry that I don't, of the business really, that I don't do.
Okay.
That I work with subcontractors on.
Okay.
And but I'm a huge proponent of, I don't care what your space is and I don't care what your budget is. I just care if we click. It's like dating and ultimately marriage to me. So
Yes.
it's if I jive with my clients and they jive with me,
Yeah.
we can do anything.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that ethos
Yeah.
or that whole
Yeah.
idea.
It's awesome. I end up with the best clients that way.
Right.
Like, super fun.
Do you have any sort of like interview questionnaire process that you...
Yeah. Like, I think the biggest thing that people come to me because I have an aesthetic. So like if you look at my website, you'll see a ton of white. You'll see a lot. I mean, I use color, but there's a lot of light and bright. So people come to me knowing that that's what I work in. Kind of that's the medium that I work in.
Right.
But from that point on, it really is about, are they going to trust me and let me do my job?
Right.
And I'm not going to micromanage them, and they're not going to micromanage me.
Right.
That's when they get the best of me.
Yes.
But again, like, it doesn't matter what the space is, and it doesn't matter what the budget is. So when I first meet a client, I usually have either a phone conversation, Zoom, or if they're local to me, they'll come in to my space, and we'll kind of sit down and chat. And everybody always wants to tell me and bring photos. They want to show me their inspiration photos.
Right.
They want to tell me what the project
Right.
is. And I'm like, I don't care about any of that. Like,
Okay.
I need to figure out if we want to have dinner together.
Right.
Because if we don't want to actually go out for dinner together, we're not going to actually work well together long term.
Right.
Like, I end up really knowing a lot of incredibly personal stuff about my clients.
Yes.
It's how I solve their
Yes.
needs, how I fill their needs.
Because it's ultimately how they live in their space, and that's so personal.
It's super personal. And I design I think you can look at my projects and you could probably find me in bits and pieces of it, because there's certain things that I tend to use.
Right.
But they're my client spaces. I don't need to live in them. So
Right.
I need to understand them deeply so I can help them feel the way they want to feel in their space, which
Yes.
is really what I'm after. Like,
Yes,
so I'm
a
chasing
feeling.
the feeling underneath it. So if you show me all your inspiration, that's great. But I need to understand why you like that,
Yes.
or why you don't like something. That's
Okay.
actually more important to me. So it's a lot of conversations about, are they going to open up to me? Are they really going to open up to me? Because I need to know things.
Right.
And then can I push them, and then will they push me?
Right.
And so if all those pieces come together, then I'll ask questions about, well, what are we doing?
Right.
Where are we going? Like, is this a tiny space? Is it a big space?
Yeah.
Do you have a little budget? Do you have a huge budget? I don't care what the budget is.
And so you base it off of, like, let's say they only want to do one room, that would be like a smaller and shorter project.
Yep. So some of my projects, like I work with people literally one-off. Like, I was working with a high school teacher who had gotten divorced a couple of years ago, had been moved into a smaller townhouse. It was a downsizing situation in their split. And they've been living in it for 2 years. And she's like, it still doesn't feel like we're at home, and it feels sad. And I'm like, no, this is awesome. It's an opportunity. And we just went in and I worked with her for 2-3 hours, and we knocked through every decision she'd been hemming and hawing on for, a couple of years. So it can be that small.
You're like
of
a
project.
therapist almost.
There's a huge part where I realize now is how much of that actually comes through.
Yeah.
And then, and so it can be that small, or like I'm working on a project. I have a house, a client in New Jersey right now who I've worked on 3 houses with.
Wow.
And the last renovation, we did a massive renovation on their house about 10 years ago, and now we're doing a refresh. So nothing structurally is changing,
Right.
but it's been 10 years.
Yes.
So now they're more interested in art than they were back then. So now we're looking at art pieces.
Yes.
We're changing rugs out. We're doing things like that
Right.
versus like a huge overhaul.
I know.
But yeah.
That's actually so much fun to me, actually,
it's the best.
to not change. Like, we just redid our countertops, backsplash, and got a couple of new appliances and a couple of, like, a clock and a new pendant light.
Yeah.
But that was almost more fun to me than a whole renovation because, well, it's less stress, and you can have so much fun with it.
You can have so much fun.
It's like you're wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and then you're putting like a fun chica jacket and accessories. Like, that's
like
how I
have
imagine
a
it.
chandelier light fixture addiction.
Yeah.
And I refer to it as the jewelry.
Yes.
And so you need to change your jewelry. You can wear the same outfit, but sometimes you just change your jewelry and it changes everything.
Totally. Yes. Which is where I feel like fashion and interiors are so intersected. And it's just so interesting to me because I always say if I wasn't doing this, I would be doing what you were doing.
Yeah.
And maybe vice versa. I don't know. But
yeah.
Anyway, so when you, actually, I want to ask you first, do you have a daily uniform?
Yes, it's not this. This is my like cute version.
Okay, so we'll talk about this in a few
Okay.
minutes, but tell me like what your daily uniform is. And obviously it changes because Jennaea has 2 residences.
Yeah.
So when you're in Minneapolis versus
versus Mexico.
Yeah.
It is a little bit different, but my general daily uniform without question is some form of leggings. They might be workout.
Okay.
They might be my riding breeches.
Right.
They might be leather ones. Like, it doesn't matter, but there's some form of leggings and some kind of hoodie or sweatshirt, usually vintage or worn down to the point where it could, it's falling apart.
Totally.
And then for me, coats and jackets are my jam. So it's that. Like, that's kind of the uniform. In Mexico, it changes a little bit, but it's still kind of the same. It's a bikini, and it's usually shorts.
Right.
I wear more dresses down there, just because it's hotter and I don't like things touching me.
Right.
But where I go, it's
That's
still
so interesting,
desert.
though, because you're wearing leggings in your other life.
Yeah.
And those are like tight.
It's because I can't walk around with bare legs in cold weather.
Right, okay.
So otherwise, I wouldn't be in leggings.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But that's kind of, I would say that's my uniform. And it's been my uniform since I was about 16.
Really?
Yeah, like I went back and looked at some photos and I was like, oh yeah, my style has not changed at all.
Right. Maybe
It's
evolved.
Just like evolved. It's grown up.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
But no, it really ultimately hasn't changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, what is your style? Do you have a name for your style?
Oh God.
Or how to describe it in you know?
Okay, the uniform thing or my overall?
No, not the uniform thing.
Okay.
Like like how you would name it if it had a name.
If it had a name, okay, somewhere in there the word curious is in there. Like, there's always something, no matter what, and this comes through in design too. Like, there's always a moment when I'm getting dressed or when I'm designing space where there's an element of like, does that actually work? And then my answer is 100% yes. If I like it, I don't care if it works.
Right.
Like, I don't, and so like curiously chic casual. I don't know.
Oh my God! Wait, I think when Cassie was on, our guest last week had 3 C's also. It was a 3 C's. You just said 3 C's. Curiously chic casual. Okay, so that's so crazy.
Because there's a point of like, I live somewhere, I live 2 places that are extremely casual.
Yes.
So they're really like, if I went out in this at home, like I dress differently when I travel, which is why I travel so much, is so that I can wear the clothes that don't get to get seen very often.
Do you feel like you're going into like a character when you travel?
No, I just get to be the more kind of grown up version of myself, I think.
Yeah.
Like I would 100%, if this existed as a top, I would wear it with my leggings and then my hoodie would be over it, like that kind of stuff. Like I'll throw stuff on. So it's more,
I love the curious. I love the word curious.
Yeah.
Curiosity. Like it reminds me of.
I chase curiosity in every part of my life. Like I chase it. If I'm curious about somewhere, I go. If I'm curious about a food, I try it. If I'm curious about whether something, again, like works together or not, I just do it and don't care. Like if my general rule with anything is if you love it, we'll make it work. I don't care.
Right. And also I feel like that is really what personal style is about.
Yeah.
It's not about like following trends or following like,
oh my God, I'm allergic to trends.
Yeah.
Like full on allergic to
Yes,
them.
I
Like
know.
they serve a purpose. Like I totally appreciate. So when I'm shopping, particularly for a home, a lot of what I do is vintage. Just because there's so much good stuff out there.
Ugh, it's crazy.
And the rest of it, like this is where I'm different than a lot of the designers. I don't do to the trade only at all. Like there's so much good that exists out there, both in new, fresh retail and accessible retail and in the vintage world. And so everything I do is a mix of that. And obviously there's huge price ranges in both.
Right.
But it's that like contrast and the context of all of those things. And it helps you feel like, I don't know, like you're evolving with something when it's all these things that you're collected and collecting. And so I think that's the thing that if somebody were to look at the spaces that I design, it looks like that it's been collected over time because it has. I don't work with clients. Like I don't do it, install it in a day. I leave empty holes for things so we can find vintage things or they can react to something. Yeah. But my rule is if it makes your heart beat fast, get it. If you walk out of the store and go get coffee and you're still thinking about it, go back and get it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make any sense, that's actually perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you can always find a place for it.
Right. Always.
Even if it doesn't go where you think it was going to go. Like I love.
Or in clothing, same thing. Even if you're like, okay, does that really go? I'm like, well, I like them both.
Right.
And I like them both today. So today they do.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about having the same kind of style from the time you were 16 until now, was there a moment in time, maybe before that you had like an outfit or something that you wore that you like think about today and you're like, that was awful or that was amazing, and a style memory that's like
Okay, so awful, I don't want to say it was awful, but it was a super interesting learning thing when it came to style. Homecoming. Homecoming, my sophomore year of high school.
Where did you go to school?
This was outside of Detroit, Michigan. I bounced around and moved around a ton, but so I was there for 2 years. And so sophomore year, my best friend and I went shopping. We both bought our homecoming dresses, and mine was strapless, black, like ruched, drop-waisted, kick pleat, short.
Yep, I can picture it.
Hers was very tight, very short, all went long sleeve. Yeah, there's some shoulder pads. Emerald green with like black panels. And the day of the dance, I put my dress on, she put her dress on, and we both wouldn't stop fidgeting. Like it was the constant adjusting. Yes. And I just looked at her and she looked at me and I was like, we're switching dresses. We switched dresses. And the thing was, I thought she had such an incredible, amazing body that I bought the dress that looked perfect on her because I wished that it looked good on me. It looked like absolute horror on me. And she did the same thing. Yeah. Like her body can't do what that other dress was. We swapped them and we both looked amazing. So it was almost
crazy. You were like styling each other.
Totally. And in that moment, I realized that not just because it doesn't work on me, like it didn't work on me. So like that's a no for me. Like it wasn't about, like I didn't judge the fact that it didn't fit me and didn't look good on me. It looked better on her.
But you still loved it.
Oh my gosh, loved it. And she looked incredible and I was so happy for her to be in that dress and it suited her so well.
And then did you feel like good and confident amazing. After you were wearing the right dress?
The minute we changed, it was like my whole face changed. Yeah. My personality changed. I wasn't fidgeting with this dress that was entirely too short for her, but my legs go up to my armpits, so it worked for me.
I love a good mini on a long-legged girl.
I know.
Fave.
It was great. So that was the could have been a total faux pas. I would have been yanking at that dress all night long, miserable, so worried about whether I was looking like smoothing down. Like I have hips, and I would have been like doing this thing, trying to make myself smaller. And that's just not the body I have.
I feel like I talk about that a lot on the show. Is like how style is not really about the exact piece that you're wearing. It's like about how you feel in it. Yeah. And that is when you portray, like when you feel good in something, you're going to have this confidence and then you look good in it. Totally. Better than if you're uncomfortable and like you're wearing like the perfect look, but it's not perfect for you. And it's trendy, but it's not. Yeah.
And that kind of back to the whole trendy thing. Like I think trends are great because if we didn't have if people weren't talking about trends, things wouldn't be available.
Yes.
So like they're necessary
Right.
from a retailer standpoint, obviously, because you got to know what people are looking for.
Right.
But from a personal style, personal space, personal, attire, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
It becomes about, do you love it? Does your heart beat fast?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like I want someone like to have their heart beat fast when they walk in their space.
To like
so
have
they
an
make sure for
emotional
you.
reaction
Totally.
to it, like a gut
It's,
reaction.
right.
to
It's
it.
all that feeling.
Yeah.
And then the time when I was like, when it was just like, this is so me that I can't bear it. I had two of those. One is old. When I got married a million years ago, I'm divorced now, but happily. But when I got married, my wedding dress, like the second I put it on, I was like, this is so me.
Right.
And I had to have it tailored because it didn't actually, the shape of it wasn't.
So this
me.
is actually answering the question, what look, maybe, what, either tell me about your most memorable outfit or style, or what look will you never be over? So I feel like you're segueing into one of those questions, which is totally cool. I love how that works out.
All works out.
But would you say like this wedding dress was just a most memorable?
It was one of the most memorable. I think that I have two different. That was the most memorable for me at that point in time in my life.
Okay.
I was in my late 20s, and it just embodied everything that I was. I had to tinker with it though.
Right. So what style was it?
It was way too big of an A-line, and I had to have it brought way, way in and just have like the bottom kick out.
Okay.
Totally strapless, absolutely dead simple.
Who made it?
I don't even. Oh wait, hold on, just flashback. Justina McCaffrey. I think she was out of San Francisco at the time. I was living in Chicago.
Okay.
It had just like a waistband belt on it that looked like my grandmother's vintage beaded collar that she had. And it just reminded me, it was this piece of vintage on something super simple and clean and modern.
Right.
Which is definitely me. Like,
did you wear like a special shoe? Like what?
Nope. It was just a simple shoe, simple earrings. Like everything was just really simple. Like I'm not fussy. The fewer pieces I wear, the better.
Okay.
Layers drive me absolutely bonkers. Like I just get too fidgety with them and stuff. And so like, you'll see me in a sleeping bag of a tundra coat in the winter with a t-shirt on underneath it. Yeah.
So would you, if you were, the wedding dress, like let's say you were going to do it all over again, would you?
Oh, I have a dress. I've found it. I can't talk about it because like if I'll ever get married again, but I have a dress in my mind that I saw somewhere, and I thought if I ever were to get married again, that's me. But that dress is so me that I just need to find the person that would fit me in the dress.
Right.
Whereas like my dress when I got married the first time was stunning, and it was who I was, and it was appropriate for the venue. If we had gotten married in a different setting, in a different place, it would have been a different dress.
Right.
Now I know myself so well that I know the dress if it ever were to happen.
Right.
And it, regardless of where it would be, regardless of the venue,
do you
it would be the
actually
dress.
have this dress, or you just have the vision of the dress?
No, it exists. I haven't bought it, but it exists.
Okay.
If it ever gets discontinued, I will probably buy it and just hang on to it. It's beautiful anyway, and I could totally dye it.
Totally.
But it's dead simple, and it's very much me now, which reminds me actually of the dress where it's like my newer version of, I will never, ever, ever get over a tight turtleneck dress, like skin tight.
Does it have to be a specific color, length, like what?
Generally dark.
Okay.
Like I'm generally like black or navy with that. I have the one that's in my head is like super sheer cashmere.
Okay.
And it's about like mid calf, and it's like semi sheer. There's a piece for me that like I like things that hint at something.
Right.
So
well,
like
you're a Scorpio.
I am totally. So like semi-sheer thing, like even these boots, like the fact that they're perforated.
Yeah.
Like I literally died when I saw them.
I love them. They're very like 60s, 1960s.
I don't know what they're. Again, like I don't know.
But I love the juxtaposition.
So that's
of the white, like sort of maidenish sort of look, and then these like rock and roll.
Yeah, there's always a piece
hipster.
of. I have leather. There's pretty much not a day that I don't have something leather.
Very interesting.
On or near me. Like I definitely have that. Like I'm very feminine looking, and I think when I was younger, I did a lot of fully black dressing, which I still do, but but a lot of leather, a lot of that like rock and roll edge kind of came in and stayed.
Does
Now
that go?
I'm more comfortable with the feminine part than I was when I was
Okay,
younger.
so you're not trying to do a whole, but
No, but I will. I do have to leather. If you give me a leather cat suit, I'd be in it in 2 seconds.
oh my God, I can totally picture that on you. Does that go into the way that you design a space?
Yeah.
Is there like a masculine, feminine?
Yeah. There is. So maybe that's like the piece of curiosity for me is how do I bring out all sides of people? Like I had a client actually who, it was a husband and wife, awesome, very, very different from each other. They were struggling because they thought they were very different. I was like, you guys chose each other, so clearly there's a connection
common,
there.
yeah.
So we just need to find it.
Right.
And I start every project with music. I think you and I have talked about this before. I'm a playlist junkie. So the first thing I do is gather
Can you make
music.
me a playlist for the store?
100%.
Okay, thank
oh my
you.
God, and you should have revolving ones. Yes. Oh my God, yeah. And so that's what I do. I create a playlist for the project. If somebody's very into music, I have them give me
Help
stuff
you,
they
yeah.
love. In general, I'll
This
ask
is so
clients.
cool. This is like a really
It's literally
different-
where everything starts. Like I don't even. This is also why I'm like I need to understand how you want to feel. And
Right.
that's my fast. That's like my
music is
main
such
line
a
into
feeling.
it.
Like
Completely. It literally can show me when you give me. So if I have a client who does listen to a lot of music, they'll give me their playlist. The husband will give me his music. The kids will give me their music. I dump it all together and I hit shuffle. Because when I hit shuffle and I'm listening to all of it together, I understand the like melting pot that is that space and who's going to be in it. Because I don't want anybody who uses the space to feel like it's not
they
theirs.
don't belong, right?
Like there are a lot of beautiful, beautiful homes and like kids walk into them and feel like they can't
Right.
lay on the floor.
Yes.
A husband walks in and he's worried that he's, whatever, like, or whoever's
Right.
the dirtier
Yes.
one can't make a match. Like
Right.
it's like I want to kind of cover everybody.
Yes.
And it's the same thing with the dressing is there's a mix and match of like all the different sides
Yeah.
of my personality or
Right.
the different things I like. Again, like I love lace, like
Yeah.
obsessed with it. Like I have lace tattooed on my arm. Like I have, an obsession with it. It's very soft and feminine.
Yeah.
But yet I'm this. Then
Yep.
these boots. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm totally, that my look is like, I need to have a little, the curiosity part, like
Yeah.
that's so, mine is more like something has to be a little off.
Yeah.
It cannot be what you are expecting. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
And
It's
spaces
too
are that way for
perfect.
me too.
Yeah,
where you
when
walk in
something's
and
too
it's
perfect.
Yeah, when something's too perfect. Like I don't design for magazines. Like I don't design for it. I design for the way people live. And the way they live, in order to get there, I need to know how they're going to feel. And so
Right.
the music plays into it. So with that couple in particular, they gave me all the music and I was listening to it. I happened to have designed for the wife's two best friends.
Okay.
And something just wasn't clicking to me.
Yeah.
And like she had, like I loved the playlists. Like they were, very curated and considered.
Right.
I wouldn't
Maybe
be surprised if
too-
she was
too
actually a
much
Virgo.
so? Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
But I went to her two best friends. I was like, I'm missing something here, and it's the thing that I need. And then one of them got back to me, and she's like, "Do you know that she can quote every explicit '90s rap song on the planet?" And I was like, "That is what's missing." Like it was feeling too perfect,
Yeah,
too polished,
yes.
too whatever. And then the minute that came in, I was like, "Oh, now I know what to do."
Oh my God,
So now
yeah.
I need something that's aggressive in
Yeah,
the space,
okay.
and something that's a little like rougher around the
Yeah.
edge, something that just kind of harkens back.
So like this is so interesting to me the way that this works for you.
Yeah.
Like so interesting. Whenever I'm talking to somebody and they throw something like this in, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I need to understand. So when you say 90s rap music,
Yes.
what does that translate into in a piece of furniture?
Yeah, so
or
for
a
me,
piece of art or like
so if like for her 90s rap, what I needed to have were some things like she really loved her space looking. They bought a beautiful house that was like newly done. Everything was too perfect for
Right.
me. But it's not about having like a vintage piece with chippy peeling paint.
No.
It was more like having bits of black in the
I was
space.
just gonna
like
say.
I brought black in and spot. I brought mercury glass in. So it's shiny and it's got this like disco ball edge, but there's
Right.
something slightly dirty
Yes.
about it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like something slightly
Right.
dirty. I put bits of like things that were leather.
I was gonna
into
say
the
black
space.
leather, like-
It ended up being chocolate, so I could get her there because
Okay.
she's like, black leather feels too harsh.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, but I needed something
Yeah.
and it had to be worn.
yeah.
So there's just something that needed to be a little dirty and a little grimy. And
Mm-hmm.
I took what was the paint color that I thought we were going to go for on one thing, and I picked the more grayed version of it. So
Right.
it was like dinged
Yeah.
down a little bit, just a little
90s,
rougher,
yeah.
a little grungier.
Totally.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it all started to come together, and and then he had a collection of his dad's like vintage, like all of his dad's albums. So then those became bigger on display. Like the music became a bigger piece of, and we made a space that was kind of a lounge, and they, could, but even just like the worn edges on the albums faced out instead of the front facing part.
I refuse to buy a new record.
Oh,
like, sometimes I'll see records sold in like, I don't know, like, I like to go to like a real record store that has all the old records and buy records. Yeah. Okay. So, you were actually talking about leather.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, what is your most versatile piece in your wardrobe?
Oh, hands down, no question. I'm not wearing them today because I'm obsessed with these boots right now. I have 3 pairs of them. They are black leather paddock boots. They're from the tack store.
Okay.
So they are actual barn boots, but they're black leather ankle boots that zip up the front.
I've seen them in your photos.
You've seen them.
And
yes,
okay.
Because I'm in them all the time.
Right.
So I have the pair that literally goes to the barn.
Right.
Or goes to Baja. I have the other pair that's like my sort of beat up. They're all in various stages of being beat up.
Right.
And the same ones, newer and polished. They're the boot that I wear when I travel everywhere. People stop and ask me all the time. They're like, "Oh my God, those are amazing."
Because they're really cool and they look like they're designer.
Right.
That's funny that you say that they're really from the tack store, because I always see trends. Okay, so right now it's boat shoes, and everyone has the Miu Miu boat shoes, and I have the Sperry boat shoes because I have the Bass loafers. I have Birkenstocks and not like Chanel Birkenstocks. And I'm not opposed to the designer shoe thing, but I really like the authenticity of the original shoe in its original model.
Yes.
So I wouldn't mind if someone bought me the Miu Miu boat shoes and I would totally wear them, but I'm just going to have the Sperry boat shoes.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's that side of you that's the classic side of you that comes out. The same thing with like the striped shirt, that kind of stuff when that comes out. So when it, like, if that came into play with the client, it's that kind of stuff. It's me knowing that like the classics matter.
Yes.
Like if there's one, awesome, amazing, vintage purchase that happens, I would love for that to be a classic orange Hermes blanket. Yeah. Like that kind of thing.
Right.
I love the designer plays because they tend to twist them a little bit.
Yes.
So my favorite faux Birkenstock, non-Birkenstock, are Isabel Marant did some where they're all, they're grommeted. Yes. Those are the ones that I have. And they're like a weird green suede.
No, and I love Isabel Marant shoes. Like, I'm a huge fan always, because she takes the classic and makes it
And for me,
cooler.
her version is that edgy version versus the like prettied up version. Right. So it depends. That's why there's certain designers that like I gravitate toward. Right.
But the boats, not the boats, the boots, the zip boots,
the zip boots. They're by Ariat, which is which is just a classic.
Yes. Like, and they're well made, and so they're going to last.
And they're waterproof. Yeah. So like I wear them literally everywhere. Yeah, that's my most versatile piece.
So when you are going to an event or speaking or going to a great party or something where you just like you want to bring your best look, what are you reaching for? What are you wearing?
So this is an interesting question because it's evolving and changing because my body's evolving and changing as I'm getting older. And so I'm more Jessica Rabbity than I have ever been in my life. That's not like
so you're like embracing
really totally. So it will be literally skin tight. Like I feel better right now in clothes that are more fitted. Like really.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Though. So like the turtleneck thing is literally back. Like I wore it, like that kind of dress that we, all had.
Yes.
We had the sleeveless version of the tank version, the long sleeve version.
The mock turtleneck?
The mock turtleneck. The mock turtleneck. But now I like it a little bit longer. Right. And a little bit see-through.
Okay. So you're adding the sex appeal, not from the length, but from the sheerness.
I think it's I hate the word age appropriate. Like it drives me
I hate it too. I think you and I have talked about this before. Like, no, there's no such thing. It's what you feel good in and what you look good in.
It's what you feel good in, what you look good in. But I'm also aware of the fact that, like, I have a 20-year-old daughter. I'm not trying to look like her, like, at all. And so there's a part where, like, I think the thing that's evolving is, like, if it's shorter, I tend to be more covered up top. If it's longer, I'm more bare up top. There's more...
Sexy tomboy. That's my look.
Sexy tomboy. Yeah. So, like, mine is more... mine's more aggressive than tomboy.
Right.
it is, there's, I mean, maybe it's more
just,
rock roll.
you're
It's the fact
showing.
that I was into 80s hair bands, like, and I was at every Def Leppard and Guns N' Roses
God,
concert
seriously?
on the planet. Like, I followed them anywhere and everywhere I could.
love
but yet
them
I was
so
also
much.
in the club dancing to MC Hammer at the same time.
Yeah.
So, like, I had these two sides.
I love how you're like really
My music
the
taste will
music.
give you
Yeah, but I
like
love that.
whiplash.
And when you post like,
Yeah.
you'll go on like a little spree of posting songs.
Yeah.
On your stories.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, oh my God, I forgot about that. You
Right.
always bring memories back to me.
Yeah. It's
the
one of the things,
music
like
that
I
you
take
post.
people, like clients, on a little exercise where I usually will ask them, like, if they had one song that just makes them, like, it gives you that, like, you're smiling or there's a twinkle in your eye
Yeah.
or there's this, like, nasty grind
Yeah.
on your face, like, whatever that song is.
Right.
Like, I want to know what that song is because
Right.
it's the one that, like, I can play. And when I hear music, I see spaces. So that's where, like, I literally do.
That's like your superpower.
It is my superpower. Like, I literally, like, I hear a song and I can picture.
I almost feel like you need to incorporate this into your.
So I am.
Yeah.
It's in process. So I created like a design course actually that I need to like put up. It exists online, but I never really like did anything with it.
I actually like what
takes
you're
people
saying
through
to
that
me
process.
sets you apart from all the other interior designers and actually makes me, even though I like doing my own decorating,
Yeah.
like I want to work with you now because of what you're saying because it's so different
Awesome.
and interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. Okay, so wait, so let's see. Oh, I did not ask
What are your other
you
questions?
what if style and fashion influenced your career choice, like when you were growing up.
Yes, because I started my world in retail. So I worked at, back in the day, my first job was at the Gap. That was before they did their own branding. It was so I could get Levi's jeans because they carried
Yes,
Levi's and they carried both vintage
Yes,
and original. So
I
like
know.
my first job
Bring
was at
that
the Gap.
back, Gap. Come
I know.
on, yeah.
So it was the Gap, the Limited, like merry-go-round for spring break clothes, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I was really, really into cosmetics and makeup. So like color was always something that I was fascinated by. So I kind of thought that's the direction I was heading. I went off to school. I ended up getting a degree in economics.
Wow, that's
I know.
like really off the.
It was, except at the end, it was like I could have gone the route of like trend forecasting for like Pantone or stuff like
Yes.
that. But I wanted to be in retail. I wanted to be in buying.
I
And
love
so
trend forecasting for color and
Yeah.
even
It's
if
super
you
fun.
even if you're not into trends, it's
Yeah.
just so interesting to see like what you were saying,
Yeah.
like just like what people are. I find
what
it's
they're
so,
craving.
Yeah,
Like I love that word craving
Yes.
because it's like what are they craving? It's not really like what's right. I hate right and wrong.
right. But it is like it. Even if you have your own taste, it's interesting how all of us as a society
Yeah.
somehow are like, oh my God, we want like maximalism right now, or
Yeah.
we want like,
Yeah.
old worlds like tile. I don't even know. But
Yeah.
it's just like, how does that happen?
Yeah, it is. It's informed by all the things that are going on. And then
Right.
it's like, yeah, it is this evolution. But if you look at it over time, yeah, you can watch it
Yeah,
kind of come
totally.
and go.
Yeah.
I forget where we were going before that, but
Oh, we were talking about if style and
influence.
fashion
So
influence.
I went into a buying office at a department store. So
Okay.
that was my like first out of
Right.
college job.
Yeah.
But I thought for sure they would put me in fashion or cosmetics because that was where my background was. But they put me in China and crystal, which
Wow.
totally changed the trajectory of where I was going. But originally, I wanted to be in department store retail.
Yeah.
I ended up working in that industry, which is tied to the wedding, obviously, industry.
yes,
And
right.
I always loved China and crystal. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Vintage and new. I had a massive collection already at that point.
Wow.
And so I kept going in with my career in that, but that ended up then my first business that I started was a wedding planning business. That was what I did when my oldest was born. And then that evolved into designing spaces for other people. I've been designing spaces for me my whole life because we
Right.
moved around so much. And my mom was way into interior design.
Oh, so it was like
So
a
like
thing
I
that-
got to redo with her. Like we were
That is
picking
so
up
much
carpet, we were picking
fun.
up furniture. Like so I grew up doing that
Yeah.
every couple of years. But then my,
So she did it
corporate
just
world-
for fun, but
we moved, and so every time there was a new house, she would decide if there was like a tweak she wanted to play on
Yeah.
it, and she still has, her style's been very consistent.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten, you can see a difference from when my dad was alive and they were together. It had a lot more. My dad would literally live in a mid-century modern like bachelor pad, like that was my dad.
yeah.
And my mom was so not that, and
Right.
so it was her trying to meld those two
Yes.
things. Like I grew up with her trying to
Right.
like make it make sense.
right. Well, then that really informs what you do now
It
because
did.
you're working with
Yeah.
multiple people and
Yeah. And at the time I started the wedding planning business, it was before, in bigger cities, wedding planners were new versus the old school like bridal consultant kind of thing where it was your mom and your grandma doing it. And we had moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, and that really, wedding planners didn't really exist there. And so it was a underserved like niche. So I worked directly with clients who were for the most part paying for their own weddings, and it was about them and the way they wanted to feel. And that's where that started.
Yes.
And then I had babies and was doing nurseries, and so then I started doing nurseries for other people.
So you like planned their wedding, and then you planned where they were going to live,
or if they bought a condo, or if they
That's
and
cool.
it just kept evolving that way. And then finally, I had my first big. I had a friend who's like, you need to start doing this for real, but give it to us for free first.
Of course.
So,
yeah.
And so I was able to use their house kind of as a lab, and they used to entertain. They used to host a big party every year. And so I'm like, okay, my deal is I'll help you guys. We'll fix this, a big old beautiful Victorian house in suburban New Jersey that, needed some work. I'm like, I'll help you with this. I want you to invite as many of the same people next year.
Yes.
And they came back, and that's how I got my first.
I love that.
My first like big client,
That's so
like
cool.
not just a single room, but like a whole house.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was 2011, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know. Oh my God. It's just so crazy.
2010. 2010.
So
actually,
15 years
it'll be
ago.
15 years this fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So, oh my God, I feel like, okay, well, I just really want quickly before I ask you the last three questions. I just want to say, Jennaea and I met through a mutual friend who also is a fashion stylist or a personal stylist.
Personal stylist, yeah.
And when I say we met on Instagram, and Jennaea was ordering stuff from me, and we were talking about, we just clicked.
We just clicked right away.
And Jennaea was like, I'm going to be in Baja, and you should come down. And I was like, I mean, I've never done anything like that before. And because you were a woman, and I was like, not, okay, this is not, scary. I brought my best friend, and we flew down to Baja, and we spent like, I don't even know, 5 days
I think
with
so.
you.
It was the better part of a week.
And it was just so cool. And then we've kept in touch, and now she has her own place there. So it was very fun. And I want to come back.
100%. Yeah, because you have to come see the house.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, it's so good.
So anyway, I'm going to ask you the three questions I ask at the end, which are, what is the first thing you do in the morning?
Make coffee. And I go back in bed and I drink it in bed.
So great.
Like I'll get up early to do that. That's like no question.
Your
first
time.
thing. Yep, straight black. Just give it to me straight.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you drink straight black coffee, and I also know that you love to take pictures of the light.
I do. I'm obsessed with the light, and I'm fortunate that I live most of my life in a far northern climate because I'm up in Minneapolis. So our light changes between 2 and 3 minutes every day. So like you literally feel the whole. It's like an in-breath and an out-breath every single day, and it happens in a different pace. And so I'm really aware of the season, so I'm obsessed with the light.
Yes, I love that, and I love the photos that you post because with your coffee,
it's just my morning.
And your dog.
And my dog. My dog is the best thing ever. She's the most complicated thing I've ever in my life.
I love
She's
her.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, what is the last thing you do before you go to sleep?
I would love to say read, but it's generally scrolling my phone with my book on my lap until I'm too tired to read.
I do that too.
Yeah, but there's certain things that I don't look at all day, and then I look at them at night. I don't have, I'm lucky in that I don't have the like weird overstimulating thing that social media can do to people or whatever you're scrolling on. I don't look at emails and that kind of stuff. My brain will turn on too much. But I scroll Instagram for the visuals.
Right.
So I don't even listen. I turn it on mute and I just scroll until I see pretty things.
Yeah. So you're using it the way that it was.
I'm using it
the way we used to use it.
Yeah, the way we used
to
use it.
For inspiration.
Like I've had to try to like fight the algorithm because I'm constantly clicking on not interested, not interested, because it's giving me stuff that I don't actually want to see. I want to see the beautiful stuff again.
Yeah.
The things that like make me want to drift off and dream.
Yes.
But I do always have a book that I'm in some stage of reading.
Yep.
But I'm hardcore with what time I go to bed.
What time?
No question. The light is out by 10 o'clock.
Okay.
If not earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love getting up early. I love beating the sunrise up.
Oh, wow.
So, which for me can be, in June, it'll be I'll be up at 4:30, 4:45 in the morning to watch the sunrise.
That's crazy, but that really
It's
is
ridiculous
cool
now that I have like teenagers and out of the house
Yeah.
people that when they're home,
They
like,
sleep until...
and they go to bed so late and they're like, why are you in bed so early? I'm
Yeah.
like, because I'm up.
Right.
Like I'm up at 5.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Most
And
days I'm up
that's
at
what-
6. That's kind of my.
6 is doable.
10 to 6 is sort of
4:30,
my-
no, definitely not.
Here's the crazy thing. I love getting up in the dark and I love going to bed when it's still light outside.
Wow.
It's really weird.
It's
I had
like
somebody,
very, when you went to, where did you go? To Norway?
Norway and Scotland.
And
Those two
it's
places
light,
are.
right? Was it light?
It's like I am in Minnesota, so it's very in the winter it's very very dark, and in the summer it's very
very
very light.
light,
Yeah, and I love those things, so I chase those ends kind of wherever. Yeah.
And what do you sleep in?
Oh, it depends. If the kids are home, a giant T-shirt. If they're not, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're now it's trending. The pod's trending towards more of my guests are sleeping in nothing.
Oh, really?
Where before it was like sweatpants and socks, and maybe it's because the
Oh, I would die if I
yeah.
had that many articles
Yeah,
of clothing
yeah,
on.
yeah.
And I sleep with the window open in the middle of winter, and it closed in the summer.
I love sleeping with the window open. Yeah. Okay, so tell everybody where they can find you, because
Yes.
I think that whoever is listening to this is going to be like, I need to work with Jennaea.
I would love that. Okay, so you can find me on JennaeaDenhardt.com. That's my website.
We're going to put it in the show notes because your name is
Complicated
like,
spelling.
Yeah.
My Instagram, I have a personal one and a work one. The work one is mainly so you could straight see my portfolio. So my personal one is Jennaea Denhardt, and my work is Jennaea Denhardt Interiors.
Easy.
Although it's expanding a little bit, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it was so much fun to have
Oh my
you
God,
on.
this is like we could talk for
I know.
days.
And
straight.
now the camera's going to go off, and now we're going to have the second part of the conversation. It always happens
rest of
every
the
single
stuff.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, this was fun.
Thank
and
you.
thank you.
This was
Thanks for
awesome.
listening.
Thank you.
Bye.